Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Monsters Behind the Masks. I am Dario. Maybe you can recognize me if you're looking at the video version of this podcast because we are on YouTube as well. I am Dario, and here is Renz. Hi, Renz.
Hey, hello. I got the special masks.
Wow.
I can remove it.
The Monster Behind the Mask. Oh my god, I forgot mine. Such a shame. Next time.
So now the monsters are revealed.
Yeah, and then the monsters are now revealed. Yes, both of them. So, welcome to this new format. This new episode, of course, is going to be distributed as usual on Spotify and your favorite podcasting platform, while we are on YouTube as well. So, this is pretty new for us, and we're pretty excited, aren't we, Jens?
Yes, it's something to get used to, but it's fine.
Yeah, it's cool. Well, we got a lot of stuff to talk about because it's a bit that we don't record anything. Last episode was the interview with Owen, but a lot of things happened, and a lot of things has to be told. We have a lot. Yeah, we have a nice schedule for tonight because we're recording the right night, of course.
Yes.
Are we ready, Renz?
I'm ready. Yeah, go for it.
I suppose that this episode should be named something like "The Monsters Unveiled" or "Unmasked."
Yes.
Okay, so that will be welcome to the Monsters Behind the Mask. In this new episode, the monsters are unmasked. Theme song, Renzo. Benvenuti a Venezia.
Welcome, cari signori. Welcome to the city of the unending Carnevale. Welcome to Venezia. But be aware, there are monsters behind the masks.
And here we are back. We want to keep our usual schedule because we like it so much. So, hobby session for us. Renz, what did you do in the last months? Anything interesting? We saw some posts on Facebook. What did you do?
Yeah, I played the game again. So at the local club, it was really a lot of fun. I had to put all my stuff inside the bike cart. And I went cycling to the club. Really enjoyed it. Yeah, it was quite a chaotic game, so it was good.
Super fun. And so, how was the game?
It was good to play again. We had the Vatican, of course, meet versus Guild and versus the Doctors. And it was a classic freeway game, so it looked like. So I was fighting the Doctors, and it looked like the Guild was going to get away with all the objectives. But fortunately, I managed to change that in the end. So it was a small victory. It was nice.
For the good guys. Victory for the good guys.
Yes.
Yes. This is entirely your point of view.
Of course.
Nice to hear that it was fun, of course. But I saw that you use your Carnevale miniatures for another project, like 5 Leagues from Borderlands.
Yeah, it's an interesting game. It's sort of a storytelling game. So you have this small group of adventurers, and then you have lots of tables. You have to roll for everything. You have to roll for the characters. You have to roll where you're going, and then you do small games. It's quite interesting. It's a different way of playing.
You know, the best part of it, I suppose, that was you were forced to kill your own Vatican models. For me, it's a moral victory in that case.
They were suddenly the bad guys. Yeah.
Oh, that's great. You know what? I had the occasion to play a game as well when I was in Scotland a couple of weeks ago. Well, running this podcast is a great thing because when I travel, I I see that there are people who know me, and it's good. And so I went to Glasgow, and a couple of guys got in touch with me. Hey Dario, I live in here. Shall we meet? Oh my God, no! My schedule is so tight. I'm so sorry, because I was already hosted by a couple of good friends, Paul and Brigitta, his girlfriend, and Paul, me, and Lee, another guy that lives near Edinburgh. We played a free for all, 3-player multiplayer game, and that was great. We had a ton of fun. So later we'll talk about the multiplayer games as well. But it was I brought with me my Strigoi, like 75 ducats, and I had my gifted. And Paul, well, he was using his guild. We played a very simple scenario, like there was a central objective in the middle of the board, and basically we have to kill each other and try to retrieve the objective. In the end, it was a bloodbath. The gifted, led by Lee, won the match, but I felt as a moral winner, because my Strigoi noble woman, the Queen of Adriatic Sea, of course, from the Queen of Adriatic Sea box, of course. Well, she survived a very vicious attack from a nasty Capodecina, and she proceeded to kill M and dry the poor man. So, moral victory.
Yes.
No, it was great. And nowadays, I'm pretty into relics. I suppose that you follow the news by TT Combat about the reprinting of this game.
Yeah.
I got a problem. I got an addiction. I love miniatures. I love pretty models, and those ones are really beautiful.
Yeah.
Have
you played it already?
No, because I received my miniatures like a couple of days ago. They are now fully built and primed, and I'm waiting to have some spare time to start painting them. Well, putting them together was really fun, but they are very tiny, and since their style is very cartoonish. I love them. They're so beautiful, but the problem that some bits are so exaggerated, like the knees or ankles are very thin. Okay, so for example, I got my Britannian troopers that are like the red coats but puppets, and their legs are like little sticks, and they are super fragile. I have to be really careful with them. But in the end, I managed to pull them together, and it was a good fun. Absolutely. Even
reminds me of the old Carnival models with all the thin ankles and tiny pole arms.
Yeah, it was. They were absolutely nice, but yeah, maybe a bit fragile for the harshness of the battlefield. I don't know.
Yes.
We'll see with this relic bunch how they fare with the stress of the battle. But I'm pretty sure they will hold up nicely.
Yeah,
I was saying even my wife loves these miniatures. They are cute. They remember her Stuffed Fables. It's a board game. I don't know if you know it.
Yeah.
Like puppets stitched together, and pretty cute. But this one, they got rifles, so a little less cute than usual. Well, Renz, have you got anything else about the hobby that you are willing to share? Any, I don't know, painting projects or stuff like that, or?
No, nothing.
Okay. I know you are the guy who has no pile of shame. Shame of you.
That's my shame.
Yeah, that's your shame. You're no shames.
Yeah.
Boring.
I've won a Serena model that still needs painting. Yeah.
Come on. It's just a model. One.
Yeah, it's one model. Yeah. It's my shame.
Hurry up. You're shame. You got one painted model.
Yeah.
I got 1,000 painted models, but different points of view. Well, Interesting. Well, let's talking about unpainted models and future pile of shame for many of us. What do you think about the news? We have witnessed a couple of interesting boxes released in the last few weeks, and I'm
Yes.
really eager to talk about them with you. And I want
Yes.
to know what you think about them. And I
Yeah.
suppose that our audience too wants to know your competitive player
Mm.
opinion.
All right. All right. Where do we
Shall we
start?
introduce the? Okay, give me just a moment because thanks to the power of technology, I can where is it? Where is it? I can share my screen
Yeah.
and voila, le jeux sont faits, monsieur.
Aha.
Do you like it? We can see the
And we,
stars of the Wallachian Hospodar. The
yes,
power of
there he is
technology, amazing.
in all its
Well,
glory.
I think I think that we should introduce before anything else how these two boxes are made of. I mean, we got one for Strigoi and one for Vatican. The Strigoi is the Valachian war host. It's a complete gang composed of this Valachian hospodar that is the leader, the Spatar that is a hero, and the Impaler, I suppose, was Valachian Impaler, stuff like that, another hero, and two Targoveti that are the two henchmen of the box. While the Vatican is a purely reinforcement box composed of that's a new Summoner Priest sculpt, a new Golgotha sculpt, the Seraph that's a new, entirely new hero that's really
Mhm.
gorgeous, and the two little ghosts that I don't remember the name. I am sorry, so you have to go to TT Combat website and check for them because
Yeah.
I really don't remember the
Spirit.
names. Spirits. Okay, thanks.
Spirit.
Well, guys,
Spirit. The
what do
Holy
you think?
Spirit.
Hmm, what do you think about the Valachian Warros in general?
Interesting. Interesting. So at first I thought when I looked at there are a couple of things. So first we see that they all have quite high armor values.
Mm-hmm.
With the Hospodar as number one with his full plate armor. And secondly, what is very interesting is that they have a keyword which is sort of new, at least new for this faction, and that's the soldier keyword, which we already seen with the patricians. So that's two interesting things. So first we see that a faction that was normally very weak considered armor gets a lot of armor. So that's sort of counterintuitive for their normal faction. And second, we
Mm-hmm.
see a faction crossover, namely the soldier keyword. Both could be indicators of things we might see more in the future. And I'm especially interested in that crossover. Because that means, for example, if you play a game 2 versus 2 and you make a gang with soldiers, patricians, and soldiers from
Mm-hmm.
the Strigoi, then you suddenly have a keyword which goes both ways.
Interesting.
Looking a bit more, I thought, yeah, the Hospodar is sort of, for me, it seems a bit inferior to the noble vampire.
Mm-hmm.
However, I do know some Strigoi players who were very much complaining about how fragile their faction was. And for
A
those
bit.
players, this character is obviously meant for them. So, no, your faction is not fragile. Just take this guy. He has protection 6, universal shielding. Now, go play. So
Yeah,
those
the
are
whole team of these new boxes about resilience is something that we are not used to see with together with Strigoi. For example, Matteo, my friend, he plays Strigoi. He's got Strigoi as well, and he was like puzzled because he said, "Hey, I am sure that some time ago a very beautiful podcaster asked for the vampiric nightly orders or something like that, and apparently somebody in TT Combat listens to us in a way or another. But wow,
Yeah.
beautiful, great. Yeah, this is like the pinnacle of Strigoi resilience, high protection, high universal shielding, the possibility to boost this universal shielding even further with the command ability of the hospitaller. So yeah, thumbs up for this guy. If you want to play a different way of Strigoi, yeah, if you want to try something different, it's, in my opinion, it's a bit less flexible than the noble Strigoi.
Yeah.
I still love that model very much. Okay,
Yeah.
this is different. This is different, and
Yeah.
probably I want to see how the Strigoi player is going to exploit this faction and this model in particular. Want to take a look at the heroes, because
Yeah.
there is one that is really incredible in my opinion, the Valachian Impaler.
Mm.
Well, I already shared my thoughts about this guy when we recorded the Italian version of the podcast. We got a little, how can I say, serious running, Matteo and I. It's called Venezia a la carte. We talk just about the news, and it's like a commentary on how they look like, and how they look to us, like on the release date. Okay, and the general feeling about the Valachian Impaler that this model is so broken that we love it. First of all, because its face. I mean, the miniature is like depicting somebody who really loves his job. So much. And yeah, talking about game wise, my initial idea was, oh my god, this is so expensive. 18 ducats is like a ton of ducats for a hero that, okay, it's okay, pretty powerful, but 18 ducats is a lot. He has no command points. Why so expensive? Because of his ability, and his ability is really interesting because he's going to get this our Valachian Impaler even more resilient, even more durable, and his offensive capabilities are going to increase because when anybody is killed within, an enemy character is killed within 3 inches of him, he is not required that he kills the enemy character. Just an enemy character dies within 3 inches of him, he gains vampiric attack and gains fear. So potentially can go up to vampiric attack 3 and fear 3 in no time. It's a lot. It's a lot. Vampiric attack 3 is really, really powerful, I suppose. Clarence, your opinion?
Yeah, I agree with you. At first, you think 18 ducats, but then if you start counting his damage output, so he's 4 attacks, he's +2 damage. You use 2 will points, so we're already going at 8, and that's without anything special. He also automatically comes with 2 rerolls and a penetration. That's just a lot of damage. It's very easy for this guy to just take out henchmen in one turn, and that makes him worth 18 ducats. And that's not even with external spells or anything. That's just this guy, just what he has. So yeah, very dangerous to approach, because if you let this guy just run around and impale everybody, then you really need to have a counter plan for that. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I was a bit surprised that he is actually a vampire, because he doesn't look very vampire. He looks he isn't pale enough, but
it looks pretty alive to me, yeah, but apparently it's a vampire. Matteo was puzzled by this as well. It's not really vampiric. He's pretty healthy. I don't know. His flesh is a bit tanned, so I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's
it's
a
just the
vampire.
artwork. I mean,
Yeah, probably.
if you just paint
He
in the
looks
rest,
like
then it's okay.
well,
Yeah.
he looks like a whaler, but happier, probably.
Yeah. The waiter's also sort of impaler. Maybe they're brothers, or they used to be brothers.
Probably. Who knows? I want to I'm curious about what you think about the Spatar, the new bodyguard from leaders as well, or at least because I have great feelings about this model and this character in general. But what do you think
Yes.
before I speak mine?
I'm very positive of this model. Besides it looking very good, I think all the models look great. It's a very beautiful box of models. And I'm waiting for it to appear. And she's really an all-rounder. Nice 2 command points, nice. Good combat skill, good defense. Bodyguard, I mean, there's not a lot to complain. She's not that cheap, but very solid. You have the option for lockback, which can be very interesting. There are probably a couple of ways to use it, but mostly you'll probably use the weapon with the more difficult name, the Costille. I don't know how to pronounce that.
I don't know, it's French.
But
Coutinho.
again, we have a vampire who is very resilient, not only because protection 5, which is nice, also because parry, and she has the option to get universal shielding from her boss. So yeah, this is a very reliable character.
You know, this character has got one of the ability that I like the most in Carnevale, and it's bodyguard. Her kit comes complete. I mean, she has bodyguard, and she has a weapon that knocks back. It's even better than a bodyguard who can throw away people, like my beloved gorilla. Love you, gorilla. You're the best. But this girl here, she's a tough nut to crack. I mean, when she comes in with bodyguard, she may knock back you, and so put the assailing model away from the leader that you are protecting. Okay, and so the assailing model is going to lose the attack of opportunity, and it's just huge. I mean, unless you have a way to stop her, to engage her, basically, okay, she will keep charging in and knock you back and make you lose the attack of opportunity on charge. This is really good. I mean, even better when you think about your leaders. Usually, I don't know about the Hospodar. Hospodar is pretty resilient, but when you feel the Venetian, the Venetian noble, oh my god, the Strigoi noble, or even better, the Crone. The Crone leader, it doesn't want anybody close to her. The spotter is perfect for her. He's the perfect hero for her. That's my opinion. I see this box that's really thematic together with the Strigoi, the Romani in general. You have the magical support from Romani together with the resilience and the punch of vampires that are actually armored vampires, so even better. I don't know, a blessing of the sky in the right place to the right model. The Hospodar could be the Valachian Impaler. Wow, not bad at all. Not bad at all. You can even choose which leader you prefer, if the Hospodar or the Crone, basically on your basing on your play style, basically. Okay, I see this Romani big caravan as a big family, and why don't you join this big family? It's good. It's good. I suppose that they work well together. And if you need to punch the regular sword, the Cutigius should be, well, it's solid. It's solid. So why not? Why not? Talking about the henchmen, Rensa is, I think, that really, really basic. I mean, Matteo said that the word Targoveti in I don't know which Slavic language means just citizen. So they're basically guys with a two-handed axes and with two-handed axes and a bit of a suit of armor, just a protection 4, which is always nice with vampires, with Strigoi. It's nice. They are living models, so no vampiric nothing, anything, and they are companion with vampires, so they can take back their will points if needed.
Yep.
Super basic, super cheap. What do you think, Res? For 9 ducats.
I think they're a solid choice. I mean, it's not The battle axe is nice, and the protection 4 is nice. And basically, the only disadvantage is that they are mined 1. Otherwise, for 9 ducats, they're I think quite solid. They're quite a competition to other 9 ducat models. No,
Possibly.
not much to complain. No.
I don't know, because I'm so, just saying what Matteo told me, because he is the Strigoi expert in our duo. Well, he said they are the henchmen that probably Strigoi were missing before, because in the range of ducats, of 9 ducats, 8 ducats, 10 ducats, you got usually extreme models like I don't know, the Dampier, the Starved Dampier, that is like 5 life points starting the game, or the Newborn Strigoi, which is good, but it's mindless, for example. And it's a very offensive model, and it's really fragile. So this is the middle, how can I say, the average model that they were missing, the one that you can rely upon to, I don't know, score the agendas or help in a fight.
Yep.
You are right, they are mind 1, but if I recall correctly, the Hospodar gives companion to the soldiers, maybe.
Yeah.
Possibly.
It's not
So
a problem.
yeah, it's not ideal, of course, but it's not that bad too.
No. And they're also soldiers, so
Yeah, they work well together.
yeah, they're a solid choice. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't mind having something like that in the Vatican.
All right, well, let's take a look at the Vatican through the power of technology. Here, Vatican, where are you? Okay. Well, I think that Golgotha and the Summoner Priest are already well covered, but
Yeah.
let's take a look at the Seraph. I want to know what do you think
Yes.
about the Seraph, because I got really good vibes about this model.
Yes. Anything with flight is already very high on my list. So I mean, it's a game about maneuvering, and then you suddenly have somebody who can fly. That's already scoring a lot of points. There's very little to complain about this model. Sure, it's 70 ducats, but even that's not ridiculous. 15 life points, yes, please. It even has will point. Normally, these things don't come with will points. It even gets extra will points if it starts killing things. It starts hitting things. So yeah, no, it's quite protection 6, sure, and it doesn't drown, so it's like full blade without the penalties.
Yep.
Yeah, it even nothing to complain about this model. It's very solid. It's like I compare it to the Golgotha. The Golgotha is like raw strength, like really solid, and this one is also solid and it can fly. So
You know what, Rez? I completely agree with you, because it's the same thought that I had when I look at this profile and say, oh my god, it's not that the fly Golgotha because it punches a little less, but it's got a ton of utility with flight, and it's really sturdy. Protection 6 and 15 life points. It's really a lot to chew through. So, a damn flying statue. Luckily for us, the people who don't play Vatican that much, at least, it's primitive and mindless, and at least we have chances to keep it in a corner, stupid and isolated, without the possibility to take objectives. But it's literally the only thing that you can do to counter this beast. It's terrifying.
It's also funny if you'd also take Father Cesta, then they can both fly to places.
You're right. You are right.
And if you're
Yeah,
flying
it's funny.
circus.
The Vatican flying circus. Oh my god,
Yes.
it's what I was in need of, one Vatican flying circus. Well, you know what? Then we are taking a look at the spirit, the mini spirit host, okay?
Yes.
And the
Priest.
first thing, the priest. Yeah, unfortunately, there is a little mistake on the builder, so he's listed as priest.
Yeah.
Okay, but here we have another henchman with universal shielding too, because yes, dexterity 5 is really, I mean, it's really good on its own. It's a henchman that I will would likely field in any other gangs, but I don't know, in Vatican, if you focus on invokers or constructs, you suddenly realize that you got a lot of mindless, primitive models. And it's not that great if you play an objective game, okay? Like Father Sesta himself is mindless, so literally you can score objectives only with your summoning priests. It's not ideal. There are the only people sane enough to understand. Okay, you have to score objective to win the game. Well done, great. And but the thing that comes up to my mind when I see this model together with all the other constructs that we have now is that now Vatican, if they fill the construct list, they are crazy mobile between the spirit host, this one that are ethereal, Father Sesta flies, the Seraph flies. Okay, Golgotha doesn't do that much, but okay, bear with me. Then we got the Thalassian Messenger, the madman, that is a water creature. You got everything covered. Literally, Rance. You got everything. You, Rance, have got everything covered. What did you do to our game designer? How much do you pay them?
Yeah, it's not fair. It's not fair. I really like this model. First off, it's not primitive.
No, it's not.
So that means you can even take it without an invoker. You don't need an invoker. I mean, it's fine. Invoker doesn't do a lot for it. So that's 8 points. And then the main selling point is, of course, ethereal. Let's say you have your normal gang and you have one of these only as henchmen. Then you have one model that, sure, it dies if it comes in combat, even if it has a vampiric attack or universal shielding too, all those are a bit useless. But you can just move straight to the objective. I mean, literally straight, because you can go through buildings. Grab it and bring it back, because he's mindless, so he doesn't score himself. But that's a lot of flexibility.
Indeed.
Very interesting model. It's not expensive. 10 points for an ethereal model. And that's even the basic scenarios. There are also scenarios where you have to run to the other side of the table. Well, just take a couple of these. They want straight line. No problem. So, yeah, that's I like it. Yeah, it's very cool.
Yeah, like
having a little ghost on the table.
Mm-hmm. They're like your best buddies in Escape the Fog.
Yeah, they are the fog in this.
Yeah, we had to flee from the other side to the other side of the table. Escape the Fog is majestic in this case.
Even the ghosts are fleeing the fog.
Flight and now ethereal, a lot of ethereal and in-flight models. Okay, Vatican.
Again, a ghost without fear. Eh? They don't cause fear. People are more afraid of impalers than they are of ghosts in Venice. I don't know.
Well, I can see why ghosts, in all, they're ethereal, so they can touch you. But the impaler with the big pole, and he loves his job.
Yeah.
Remember that. He loves his job.
Yes.
Well, Renze, other than these beautiful boxes, I can tell you for sure that TT Combat teases us with these hidden images, blurry stuff and pictures. What do you think about the last picture they posted with the new Valachian warriors clashing with some doctors? I don't know if you did, but I'm sure you did. I spotted something really weird that probably belongs to another setting. It looked like somebody put a model of War Machine into Venice. I think that I am in love with the whole concept of a steampunk armor with a flamethrower integrated, burning everything that is opposing to science.
Yes.
What's your
Yeah.
opinion on that?
Yeah. What I think they're what we're seeing with these new boxes is that they're going a different direction, and I think we'll
Mhm.
be seeing more technology instead of the blood. Like Blood and Water was different focus with this more zombie type.
Mhm.
Clearly, this may be an indication of more technologies back to the guns and stuff like that. That's really interesting.
Lovely.
And I have suspicion from the image. I think they were hunting Rashar. I think they were fighting Rashar. So
Hmm.
my prediction is that they will have also specialist functions, like maybe even diving gear or stuff like that.
Mhm.
I think
I
we'll be
don't know.
seeing more sort of interesting steampunkish technology to counter certain factions.
Probably. I really know. I have no idea on how these are going to work or are going to integrate in our in the setting. But I'm pretty curious. I'm pretty curious because the idea of some new weaponry for the doctors, because I'm sure there are going to be doctors, of course. Well, when I started, just a second, because yes, I managed to find the picture. Just a second, and the power of technology again. Here we are. As you can see on the background, it looks like a steampunk model, and I love it. When I started playing Carnevale and I bought the first box of doctors because I wanted everything, every faction. Okay, a bit of everything for every faction. Well, I was in love with La Grazia researchers, okay, and the idea of these doctors that they were in this island in La Grazia, making experiments with new weaponry was so good. I really I was dreaming about this master of the booms, like the Supreme Doctor
Mhm.
with the mechanical weapons and I don't know, maybe steampunk magica stuff. Well, probably the days arrived. I am so happy. I'm so
Yeah.
happy. You can see beautifully steampunk weaponry in here. Beautiful. Can't wait to see more. And of course, there is the guy that we all love. It was Piero all along, and a madman too. I don't know. They're teasing a lot, showing not that much. They're teasing a lot. I love it. I love it.
Yes.
But you know what, Rens? There is a thing that
What?
was teased a lot by me and by other people as well. I am talking about Serenissima Volume 2! Yep, my dear. Marco from Cordin Miniatures struck again. He strikes back again and again and again, but no, he launched another campaign, this time on My Mini Factory. We're talking about a set of STLs to download. Now he's running a crowdfunding on myminifactory.com, I suppose. I'll share a link in the description of the episode. And this time, Marcos focused on more on the fundamenta, riva, and literally the basis, the foundations of your board game Venice version of Venice. Okay, and I had the occasion to see on Instagram the finished model painted by Matteo. The Instagram account is chemo.paints, if I recall correctly, and I'll put another link clearly. Okay, Matteo is really good. He's really talented. He knows how to exploit the right techniques with the oil painting and streaking. I don't know. He's really good, but the model themselves are great. I mean, mm, Matteo worked together with Marco, very closely, because Marco had really good indications about how to design these new models. I mean, like the Masegni, the cobblestone in Venice. And Matteo was like, no, Marco, this is not good. It's like 1 millimeter too high of what it should be. So they worked maniacally together, okay? And Marco, I suppose that it was driven a bit insane by Matteo, but it's fine. The guy is tough.
Yeah, we have doctors for that. Huh? If you go insane,
We have doctors. Yeah. They can treat you or use you as a battery. So it depends upon your luck, but probably is not a great luck if you come in the hands of the doctors. Well, Serenissima 2 promises to be a great addition to any board that wants to be like Venice or any other fantasy setting. I mean, more time it will be perfect. If you want raised areas or stuff like that, they got steps, they got ruin areas. It's full of modeling. Modeling. How can I say possibilities? Because Marco, for example, left some of the rivas empty, so you can fill up with, I don't know, modeling clay if you want. So if you don't like the layers that 3D printer usually produces, or like filling with water, want to run like a flooded section of the city, just pour some water effect, or I don't know, resin. The possibilities are really endless. So check it out on My Mini Factory. It's really worth it and very cheap, if like 20 euros or stuff like that. I don't know. I don't remember. Okay, so check on My Mini Factory. And then I have to send you something about this new project, because I think that you will appreciate it. Let me give me some time to print some stuff, because Marco literally shared the files to me like 2 days ago. So my printer is now running.
Swirly cannons.
Yeah. Absolutely. And yeah, they are based on actual cannons.
Yeah, they
Not
look
Marco,
great.
but Matteo made some researches about some fancy cannons of the time, and there was like twirling cannon. I don't know how to describe it, but yeah, they got a
It
cannon,
looks really
this
nice.
fancy cannon, mortar. Yeah, but it's so weird. Like, it looks fantasy, but it isn't that much, at least. You know, they're they're making good
And you can
work.
actually use it. You can shoot
I'm
cannons
proud
in the
of them.
game. So
Yeah, because the initial idea of Serenissima 2 was like filling the holes that we still have in Blood on the Water, at least. Unless City Combat now pulls up some cannons and trapdoors and, I don't know, all the stuff they describe, barricades, for example, the barricades. Like all the things that we are missing in Blood on the Water, okay? And they had this idea. I think it was a good idea. Now, let's see how it goes. Mm-mm. But friends, other than advertising our friends and our favorite company too, we asked to the people of of the Carnevale Facebook community to ask us some questions, to interact with
yeah,
us, and I'm really proud to say that the response was really interesting, and
yes,
we had a lot of
long list,
questions.
long list. It's very
You,
long.
you got a list. Great.
Yes.
Well, we'll try to be a little quick, because otherwise we'll be here like for an hour or so. But we got you covered, guys. Thank you for your support.
Now it's
Well,
time. Be ready.
shall we start from the more recent one by Hugo?
Yeah, please do. Can you name the
Okay,
question first?
just a second, because the power of well, I can just oh yes, share the question, so it's easier to follow. Okay, Hugo asks if we are tasked to design a new two-player starter set to replace the current old one. Will what will each of you do? Interesting. Vance, what's your answer?
Yeah.
Have you got any ideas?
Yes. I have an idea. It's a bit bold one. See, what I personally love is the NDF kits, entire terrain. My goal would be to include MDF terrain in the starter kit. I have no idea if it's financial possible, but I would really think that's really cool. And then of course some models, but
wow.
the problem is it probably would be too heavy or stuff like that. But I think because it's a great starter to get more terrain, because now you have those cardboard buildings which are nice, but then you have to, once you start building real terrain, you sort of have to do them away because they don't fit very well. So I would love to see a starter that already starts with MDF kits. Yeah.
I see your point. Well, it's a point of view that I never considered, actually, to put MDF terrain on a starter set. I was actually happy with the cardboard one, but interesting. If I would replace the new starter, the old starter one, because I think that Hugo refers to that, well, it's difficult. Of course, yes, the old one can be successfully replaced. I'm sure of that. But the style that I like the most for a starter set is the Sancanciano one. I mean, maybe a few models like 4 versus 4 is fine with some terrain. Maybe if there is in gondola, that will be a nice touch. But the goal, I think, for a starter set is to show you the most with the most in the most efficient way. Okay. In this sense, I think that Escape from Sancanciano is a really great starter set because they included in that set literally every rule except of magic. Okay, you got fear, you got brave, you got fast swimmer, you got water creature, you got two-handed weapons, you got penetration weapons. My God, it's really well engineered. I mean. So my idea is, yes, you want to replace it, okay? Maybe you can like put new starter set together with this existing one, maybe update it. I don't know, like a Patrician versus Strigoi or Doctor versus Vatican. The problem is to put the right models in those sets and give the right flavor of the faction while explaining the rules to a new player, okay? Because the starter sets are aimed for new players at least, okay? Next question, what do you think? Will you do an episode or part of it explaining the lore up to the current times? Oof, tough one. Good idea for a podcast, good idea for videos. I suppose that the stuff like lore has already been covered, part of it at least, by some YouTubers, but I don't know how updated is that.
There were a couple of YouTube, I don't remember them, but there were a couple of people who did some very good lore videos. But I don't think they did all of them, or some of them stopped at a certain point. But I don't see myself doing lore videos that much. I don't just read the books. I don't know.
That could be a solo project for me, maybe. If you like my charming voice, I can talk to you like this all the time. There was this place in Venice. Well, this is
on YouTube. If you look on YouTube, you'll find a couple of people with very, very good voices.
Probably better than ours.
Yes.
Well,
at least mine.
And now the spicy question from Hugo. Why is Father Sessa 24 ducats, mage leader with only 2 AP, 2 mind and mindless?
Yes, because he is an Apache attack helicopter.
Yep.
All those things don't matter. It just matters that he shoots people with his blast or hits people. That's the only great thing about him. He has a template with -4 penetration. That's how I see it. That's all I get. I don't care about the rest. Doesn't matter.
you are the person that it's really suited to answer this question, so I take you what you say as granted. I suppose that we already talked a bit about
Yeah,
Father Sessa and
yeah.
how it's balanced, and
You actually played
we
with
had
him.
really different ideas.
Yeah.
Hmm?
You played with him. You played the game.
Yeah, I played a couple of games with Father Sessa, and
Yeah.
it wasn't disappointing, but they were really like custom scenarios. So I don't know, and I just played 2 games. I'm not experienced with that much with Vatican, so
Yeah.
it's a bit pricey. Yes, can be really nasty. Yes, I suppose it's a leader that doesn't support. He wants to be supported.
Mm.
It's
Yeah.
counterintuitive, maybe,
Yeah.
but a bit pricey. I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see.
He's
Well,
expert mode, hard mode. Yeah.
probably not user friendly for
Yeah.
sure.
Yeah.
Now, next question. Next person. Bodo. He asks, any pro tips to push storytelling in your games? And please share your top storytelling
Mm.
moments with you. Ah, this is something new.
Yeah.
Well,
Storytelling.
my my philosophy about the narrative part of Carnevale is like when you got kids and maybe you got a deck of cards with a character and then a place and then a villain, okay, and you just draw the cards and you put up a story with the elements that you have. Well, I love to do this with my games of Carnevale. I don't usually write stories because I'm bad at writing usually, but I run a little experiment just for you guys because of this question. So, voila.
That evening, Vanessa was annoyed. Trying to smuggle right under her nose, she considered it a personal affront. Those scoundrels from the Guild of Thieves were literally pushing the limits. Luckily, she had placed numerous spies among the ranks of her enemies. There were always ambitious humans who coveted the gift of undeath and were more than willing to betray anyone to escape the icy embrace of death. Tonight, Vanessa had learned that an exchange of valuable items would take place right in front of Camalvasia on the Rio de Tagliagole. She wouldn't allow anyone to carry out that exchange. Rallying a band of her trusted followers, she had freed what had once been her son. Now Joel stood towering, his veins pulsating with poisonous magical blood, his undead life nearing its end, an incarnation of blind fury and hatred. The November night was already cold, if it could bother her in any way. There was movement along the hallways and rooftops. Vanessa could sense it with a natural clarity. She led her on until they reached the Rio de Tagliagole. The barrel, indicated by the spies, was there, right where she expected it to be. Her informants had been reliable. She would reward them. As she moved closer, an unnaturally fast figure lunged for the barrel and fled with it under his arms. Who was that damned one, capable of moving so quickly as to elude her senses? Vanessa chased after, followed by Joelle. She felt a thud on her shoulders and the cold of wet cobblestone as her face violently struck the ground. A searing pain shot through her chest. A blade of at least 2 feet long was firmly lodged into her back, and the man wielding it pinned her to the ground with his weight. No one could survive such an assault. Fortunately, Vanessa had already died once. Despite being severely wounded, she tapped into the power flowing through her veins, bestowed upon her by Vlad Dracula himself. She hurled the assassin aside and punched on him. The man's screams served as a warning to his companions. Too bad their screams were now joining those of their leader. Vanessa's entourage was literally tearing that band of ruffians apart. However, the issues remained. With the stolen goods, Joel had closed the distance with the masked man who was fleeing. It all happened absurdly quickly. Before the hulking Moroi appeared a cloud of smoke, the sound of 2 gunshots, and the flash of steel. Joel's massive form collided with the pietra d'Istria with a resounding clash, while Il Duca and Arlecchino fled into the night of Venice.
So, what do you think about it? Is that what you thought about how to run a narrative? I don't know. It's an idea that came up to my mind after your question. So use the game as a template to to write down a story, and that it can be linked together with other games. If you keep using those characters, you are building up a narrative. Friends, about what do you think about these
Short, I have one tip. Give
Mhm.
everybody a name. So make sure your characters, if you want to go storytelling, make sure they have names. And it's even better if your opponent also knows the names of your characters and vice versa. That already helps. And then usually it evolves from there. But as long as they're just anonymous, an inquisitor, a doctor, it's harder to tell the story than if they're like the Red Falcon or they are, some other cool name.
Yeah. Name a character and then the narrative will flow.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. Well, David Letizia asks, 3 questions. How well do 4-player games work? Do you recommend playing 2 or 3 for all? Then, currently any models do you think that are undercosted or overcosted by more than a ducat? And what was the most memorable combination of buffs that you were able to give to a single model, and how did it play out? I suppose that the first question, I can tell you for sure, since I suppose that between us it was me who played a multiplayer game last, and it depends. Carnival is good for playing multiplayer games. The structure of the game itself allows to have more than 2 people and on the same board, but depending on how much time you have, and depending on how experienced you are, those games can be a bit long. Okay, so if you want to shrink a bit your times, your schedule, your timetable, maybe it's better if you play a low ducats gangs, like 50 or 75 ducats. I suppose that's the ideal. Even more if you're playing free for all. Okay, if you are playing teams, it's nice. Maybe it's closer to a regular 1v1 game. Okay, but of course you got more models on the board, so keep the numbers low. I suppose that's the key to have a good game in a reasonable amount of time. I suppose that's the best tip that I can give you. Lance, what do you think?
Yeah, also keep in mind the board size. Sometimes 2x2 is better than 3x3. If you want nice scales, 4 players, 75 ducats, 2x2 board, I think it will be plenty of chaos. Again, like you said, it takes a long time because you have a lot of people making choices, a lot of models on the board. So, but it's great fun. I love it. Yeah, and 4x4 works better than 3 players. 4 players, I mean, because 3 players is always a bit more politics and more like 2 players bashing each other and 1 player just looking like hey. So 4 players is nice. The problem with 4 players, you might have like 2 mini battles, like 2 players are fighting, 2 players are fighting, and like that's why I would recommend a small board where you're easily, even accidentally, mashed in.
Yeah, you can't avoid to get involved in the big fights.
Exactly. Or you do special scenarios like Escape the Fog, which is, because the way it works is also a lot of fun multiplayer, I think.
Well, I can see your point. All in all, the special scenarios are perfect for multiplayer games. At least you're already playing a narrative game, because if you're playing multiplayer, you are not looking for a competitive experience. It's going to be messier, of course. So go all in and play a narrative scenario. You are going to have great fun. I think that I noticed that those games are really bloodier than usual. I mean, usually my tipping point is about around the third turn when you're starting to burn through will points and command points. In a multiplayer game, this happens way sooner. And at the bottom of the second round, I was like, okay, I am over all my command points. I got no will points, and oh my god, I am in deep. So it's really great fun.
Yeah.
Mm-mm-mm. Any models that are undercosted or overcosted by more than 1 ducats? This is tough,
Mm.
and I really have no idea.
There's one model that came to mind, and that is the Morgrauer. I think it's I think it could, if you want to play it competitively, it should be a bit more expensive. At least more than 2 ducats more expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But it's only extreme case. Maybe Father Siesta.
Father sister.
Yeah, maybe for 22 ducats it would be better.
Probably.
Yeah.
Well,
But it's only extreme cases. There are not a lot of models. It's more. It's usually not the ducats cost that I would change. It's sometimes more how the model works that makes them difficult.
Mhm.
So that's why I was only thinking of the extreme models. That might be more. But I don't think there are a
Less
lot
extreme.
of models that are actually.
Less extreme, maybe. Make them less extreme than.
Yeah.
I see your point. I don't know because all in all, the Ducas cost usually we play like usually 100 ducats when a hunchman usually costs around 7, 8 to 12 ducats. But now when you reach 13 to 14 ducats, you are or in premium henchmen or in low tier heroes, and these kind of how can I say, classification can merge, and it's difficult to say, oh no, this is a too expensive henchman, but it goes like an hero, but it's not a hero. Oh my god.
Mm.
So 1 or 2 ducats of difference is not a big deal, I think. And it's also difficult to balance. I don't know which is the formula that
No.
the math that they do when design a new model. How many fraction of ducats a single command point cost? I have no idea.
No, and also because in the rebalance, they fixed a lot of things. And before the rebalance, before Blood and Water, we could probably name a couple of models that we thought were wrongly costed. But with the rebalance, there's very little that's really more than 2 ducats wrong. Like, I really have to think about it. Yeah.
I don't know. I'm running out of ideas. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, this is pretty fun. The most memorable combination of buffs. Have you got any answer?
Combination of buffs. Well, one of the things I really liked, it's not, it's sort of a combination, but it's only in one model, is when I turn my Inquisitor in a fighting monster. Well, a lot of people, they look at the Inquisitor and they like he's this spellcaster, right? But because he has frenzied and he has this his blood ability where he gets -3 penetration. Once you start pumping all your will points in his combat, he's like doing a lot of damage, and he's suddenly with -3 penetration and a couple of rerolls, and he can give himself expert offense too, which for command point. So I used him to take down the Voice of Dagon, the new version, which is more fighty. It's like, so he can go full out, and yeah.
With bad fists.
Yeah, he's just punching people, bloody fists. That's it. I like that.
That's good.
It's sort of. Some people don't expect them to do that.
Well, my thing was like actually it refers to the older version of Carnevale, okay?
Mm.
And I was on the receiving end. Actually, my Capodecina was on the receiving end of a Scorpio marksman who was really way nastier than he is now because his profile was better, generally speaking, and the ability of of his ballista, portable ballista, was like to move you the number of inches as you the damage that you took, something
Yeah.
like that. Okay,
That was
so
nasty.
it's not much about the number of buffs that he received, but the quality of buffs that he received. And the
Mm.
Scorpio Marksman was like blessed with blessing of the sky, and the guy managed to roll a crit to my Capodecina with all these buffs stacked up. So my poor guy like took 6 or 7 damage, and he was moved like 6 or 7 inches away, falling off a rooftop, taking other damages, and so he's literally got squashed on the ground, and I wasn't really happy. So yeah, oh my goodness, that
Mm.
was not that nice, not at all.
Yes.
Matteo, are we ready for
Should we do all?
Matteo? Friends, this is a
Yeah.
question for you. Are you
Yes.
having fun with the new Vatican issues? Is something you have tried and were impressed by?
Yes, I'm having fun. Yeah. I was mostly impressed. I'm very impressed with the Malta Knights of Malta, with the
Hmm.
Hospitalers. They're quite fun. Especially Knights of Malta, because at first they're henchmen and they're quite expensive. They are first 14 ducats. So you go like, whoa, 14 ducats. But they work really well. I like it. Yeah, very solid. So nothing to complain. No issues.
Super cool. As Darren knows, I'm toying with the idea of organizing a local map-based campaign. Do you have any advice? Maybe we should use the campaign on the original manual. Have you ever tried them? Well, I can answer for sure that I played using the legacy rules for experience, and I like them a lot. We used to play a campaign-based some campaign-based games of Carnevale with my gaming group in Venice a couple of years ago, suppose. Well, the campaign then was like dropped off a bit, but it's complicated. And yes, they made a map of Venice with the area of influence of each player, so was really well organized.
Yeah.
And I encourage you, Matteo, to give a try to the legacy rules because they're not that bad, not unbalanced, and there is no much snowball effect that usually can find in into campaign gaming when somebody starts to having more experience and more loot and more of everything, and then clashes against the guy who's losing his games and is barely holding the soul with their bare feet. Okay, and he got crushed and crushed again, and so not having
Yeah.
fun at all. In Carnevale, the legacy rules are not that bad. The only thing that I'm missing is like, I don't know, an exploration phase like in Mordheim. That will be
Mm.
really the icing on top of the cake. But who knows? Maybe
Yes.
TD Combat listens to us and is going to release a new expansion with all the
Yeah.
beautiful stuff that I wish. I don't know. Really, I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's what you think.
Yeah. I've only played 1 or 2 games.
Mm-hmm.
I think you don't advance a lot, so don't expect your models to change that much. I think they mostly get 1, maybe 2 advances. They are a bit outdated, so there are a couple of strange things in those rules. So take a look at them and use what's useful. My main advice with organizing these campaigns is that a lot of times you have a lot of enthusiastic players and everybody's happy, and then it's sort of at a certain point it drops off. People don't have time, so think ahead how many games you expect people to play? So is it 10 or 30 or 500? I don't know. At least give a sort of, when you do your campaign, sort of have in mind and also communicate with the other players what the expectation is of how many games that they are going to play of Carnival in the future. Because then they can sort of
yes, I think
start
like
already see.
a time frame of the whole campaign.
Yeah.
It's a good idea.
So you can also say the campaign ends after 3 months. Whatever happens, the campaign ends, and we'll do a sort of a final battle or something.
Okay.
Because then, then sort of everybody knows what to expect. And
cool advice.
so that would
well, what's the coolest faction and why? Is it Strigoi? Seriously, are there any factions, sub-faction theme you two are currently addicted to, or would like to field? Well, this is very easy for me at the moment because I recently received by Gilda dei Giochi, the Italian online store that smuggles Carnevale to us, and I'm toying with the House of Virtue and the new box as well. So yeah, playing full harlots and their mistresses and their lies is so cool. I can't wait. I built the model. They are not primed yet, unfortunately, but they are really cool, and I love their play style. It's so interesting. It's very mobile with the Shadow Assassin that can pop and go, and they got magic support too. So it's something fresh and new, and I really want to give a try. I already painted a set of how the name House of Virtue, the original one, for a friend of mine who asked to paint them as a commission. So I already got accustomed a bit with the models. I think that I'm going to paint them differently from the box art, but I'll keep you posted, guys, because it's an interesting subfaction for my guild, beloved guild. Rance, what about you?
The subfaction, I think the house would be my second choice. My first choice was the werewolves. I really like the werewolves, the Romani. I thought it was really cool, the last set with the Moon Eater. So basically, I'm agreeing with Matteo about Strigoi. But I thought those werewolves were really cool. Really interesting to play a Romani with a couple of werewolves.
Yes, it's cool. Well, and really, they come along really well together with the new Valachian Warriors. So if you want to give them a try,
also add them, yeah.
Matteo, I was forgetting. Have you heard of Super Cool Serenissima 2 campaign, which is ongoing and features a super talented and sexy painter? Never heard of the sexy painter, but I suppose that I knew something about Serenissima 2.
Yeah. maybe we mentioned it. I don't remember.
I know. You want to hear my voice more? Yes, we want to, but there are no worries.
Yes, please.
No worries. John, our friend John,
yes,
who was
hi, John.
our honorable guest. Hi, John. You see our awesome radio face. Well, with all the new releases, how do you and Rance feel the faction are balanced now? Do you see any as stronger, weaker than the others, or do you think it's in a good place? Another tough question, Rance.
Yes.
Just tougher and tougher.
I thought about it. I think most factions are definitely in a good place. Vatican has always been a good place as far as I'm concerned. Strigoi recently had a great updates with the werewolves, in my opinion, and with the new heavy armored guys. Positions have always been quite solid. The guild also solid, but they also the new House of Virtue models really complete that subfaction, as far as I'm concerned. The Gifted are now capable of being an independent faction, which is great. Doctors, always strange but interesting. For me, it's actually the Rashar, which are now in a strange spot, mostly because the Hydra subfaction is a bit incomplete, in my opinion.
Mm.
And also, they have a lot of primitive models now, but only one leader to support them. And I would love to see henchmen or heroes that also sort of support all those primitive Rashar monsters. So
Well, yeah, in the end, probably the Rashar are the one that are a little behind, but just due to the about just due to the problem that you pointed. Problem, it's not problem. It's the feature that you pointed out. I mean, yeah, they're in need of something like a shepherd to help the cattle stay in line and do what you want them to do. That is basically to eat people. So I don't know. My opinion about this is I don't know. I see the Vatican and the Patrician always in a good spot, but not because of about something special about them. I don't know. I see the Patrician in a good spot because of the plenty of command points that they have, and that turns the table a bit when you're facing like models that in the end of a round are making like 10 actions more than you. Can be tricky to counter. You have to be aware of these tricks that they can pull with using of command points, and the capability they have about reacting to you and shooting you out of the table. It depends on the style of the list that the petition player is going to play. But the Vatican, I still suffer to playing against them because they are their stats are really good usually. Okay, usually pretty good. And according to my experience, when you are running out of command points and will points, so we're talking about the third round, fourth round, so we are going to the end, towards the end of the game. Stats are really pulling the game for you. I mean, if you got more reliable models, more tougher models, punchier models, and usually Vatican are exactly them. Those kind of models, they have plenty of them. Hey, it's difficult if you have no will points left or no command points left to counter those superior stats. And so I see that the Vatican's as always a tough opponent to fight against. My 2 cents, but maybe I could be wrong. But you are the Vatican guy, Renz, so probably you'll say no. Vaticans are fine. Just
yeah.
nerf the guild.
Now, when I talk about Rashar, I didn't mean that they were weak. They're just not in a completed. They're just a faction where I feel still missing something. I don't feel the other factions are missing anything, especially with the latest updates that they have.
Yeah. I see your point. Talking about stuff that is missing, what do you feel is missing from any of the faction or sub-faction?
Sorry, already.
Yes.
Sorry, the answer. Of course, I should have read it. Should have read my list better.
You got a list. You're like Santa. He's gonna checking it twice.
Yeah. But like I said, Rashar are missing a bit more ways to handle their primitive models, because now the primitive models, unless you're playing the matriarch, are a bit less attractive. And the Hydra subfaction only has one box. Could still use a bit more. Other than that, I think it.
My thinking goes to the doctors at the moment. Actually, if you had asked me this question 10 days ago, I would say maybe the doctors are a bit behind because I don't know, they had good releases, yes, but with mythical creatures, so okay. They completed the creatures subfaction, but I still see La Grazia researchers a bit like left in a corner, but now
Mm,
with the new steampunk armor, I suppose that they are going to
of course,
fill this
yeah.
little gap with huge flamethrowers and
Yeah.
steampunk magic. Can't wait to see. Can't wait. Hmm. This is interesting and tough as well. Are there any other areas of the world, Italy or Mediterranean, sorry, that you'd like to see explored?
Yes.
Hmm.
I have three
Suppose.
options.
Go.
All right. Number one, most obvious, most important, Amsterdam. It has got.
You're not biased at all about Amsterdam. No, absolutely. Okay.
I couldn't be Delft. We have channels. It would be great.
Yeah,
It's
you're
the
right.
other side of the world. Huh? You have everything.
Hmm.
You could just have the same factions. Who cares? Russia and Amsterdam. No,
Yeah, why
that's just
not?
fun. Yeah, beautiful Amsterdam. MDF. Beautiful MDF buildings. That would be my first option. Second option would be the ruins of Europe. And
Hmm.
Teeth Combat already has lovely kits, lovely MDF kits. All you would need to have like maybe sort of rivers flowing, and then use all these ruins kits, and then maybe some special scenarios or stuff like that. But you could have like groups explore the ruins outside of Venice, like the hinterlands, and that could be interesting. And they could all have special or different reasons to explore these regions and explore these ruins, looking for treasure or survivors or stuff like that. And that would be pretty easy for TT Combat to do because basically you already have the MDF kits. The third option I think would be is the most creative option, and I'm not sure they would do it, but I would like to see, for example, sort of in the Cthulhu mythos, you sort of the dream world, sort of
Hmm.
surreal world. I would like the idea that, for example, there are certain characters that can create portals to the Rand world or the dream world, and then you can have like really crazy environments where you could play Carnival as long as you have sort of water, which could be basically anything, and ground levels, and then something higher up, but they could be all kind of strange. And I just love the idea of, for example, a patrician paying one of these people to open a gate and then have his entire drunken buddies go in and have an adventure, just for fun.
Well,
Those are my
you basically you are describing like something like that's very close to another game that is being published recently. Its name is Altar of the Dead Gods, in which these people discovered this hidden catacomb below the city during a plague, and there are altars to these gods that can accept sacrifices, and there are parties of patricians completely drunk and bored. They go in there and trying to have fun. But your idea is fancier. I mean, this something whimsical, maybe, or a dream world is really huge, and possibilities are endless. In fact,
Mm.
because when you're dealing with stuff of dreams, you can imagine basically anything, and anything is possible. So the mechanic, the rules and mechanic of Carnival, I think that they are flexible enough to allow a player to
Yeah.
have a satisfying experience in this like fantastical world. Interesting, Renzo.
Mm.
You know what?
Yeah. Yeah.
Your ideas are pretty close to mine. Mine were a little less fancier than yours, but I was thinking about having maybe an expansion of Carnevale set into what the ruins or what remains of the Greek islands,
Yeah.
because at the time of the end of 18th century, the Serenissima Republic of Venice had ports and bases in Greece, and so it's easy to reuse the Venetian MDF kits and architecture to represent houses, Venetian style houses into Venetian-controlled islands in Greece. Of course, due to the opening of the Rent in the Sky, these islands are going to be in ruins. So you can have more ruined kits, and these islands are going to be partially submerged. And so you are having the canals are not actually canals, but like sea that flows through these rocks and what remains of the islands. So that will be interesting because you can maybe merge this kind of architecture with the classical Greek architecture. So you can go and explore lost temples and finding treasure and adventures. So it's pretty similar to yours, a little different. You can use the columns from Serenissima too if you want. So
I was looking at that.
The other thing that really fancies me is something like this is less carnevali, but I don't know. I love dungeon crawlers, so something like having an exploration of the ruins of Rome with flooded catacombs and maybe dungeons to explore. I don't know. I imagine like something like a big church that is crumbled and was brought underneath the ground entirely. So you have vaults maybe, but there is water flowing and stuff that is crumbling. I don't know. It really I love the idea. I don't know how practical it's going to be, but I don't know.
You could use a dungeon. You could do, for example, maybe the catacombs of Paris, that they are partially flooded and Bashar is slowly infiltrating Paris or something like that. It could be fun. Or maybe just like you said, maybe it's just cities that have sunken so far that they sort of become catacombs. Yeah, it's always funny when people want to make sewers in Venice and everybody goes like, no. Venice doesn't have. Sorry, can't do that. Or you can't do that.
Well, all in all, since it's a fantasy version of Venice, basically you can do what you want. So if you want to imagine that Rashara, they dig the sewers or like tunnels beneath the city, and they reinforce the walls to not have water flowing. It's fine. I mean, it's a game. You can do basically what you want.
Sure.
Last question from John. That is the hardest. When is the next painting competition? I don't know, John. You could tell us when it's the next painting competition. I really no idea. No idea. But we can arrange that, I suppose. I really don't know. Well, we can arrange that. Sorry, John. So it's just a matter of deciding what we want to do, what kind of price is going to be, and soon, probably. I don't know.
I see we answered all Sam's questions.
At the moment, yes. It looks so. Yep. Yeah. We have been really, really good. Well, Lorenzo, there is a last thing that I want to add before closing this episode. I recently came up to my feed on Spotify that our colleague Daz Burkham, sorry if I butcher your surname, Daz, but together with some friends of him, they started a podcast. Daz is a TT agent, as Renz and I are. And it's the Tipicast, a tabletop gaming podcast. You can find it on Spotify. It's a nice cat that is screaming. I don't know, but it's really funny. And they already had a couple of episodes on, and it's nice. At the moment, they're focusing more on Rumble Slam, but Daz and is dead. If I recall correctly, they got like every model in the Carnevale range. Wow. They love this game, and impressive. I thought that I had a collection. That's a new challenge. I can't cope with that. No, it's not going good for me. Well, so give listen to this new podcast in town because it's really worth it. So that's you really did a good job. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Welcome on the podcasting world. But now we are moving to video casting world.
Yeah, moving on.
Right. Is anything else that you want to add to this lovely episode?
No, I think we've had a lot to say already.
1 hour and a half, not bad. So, let's say, I suppose that maybe the next episode could be recorded together again in a new special way. We'll see.
Mm-hmm.
We'll keep you posted, guys.
Yeah.
And let's say your line.
Live on TV. Arrivederci at Venezia.
Arrivederci a Venezia. Bye, guys. Thank you for staying with us. Bye-bye.
Yes. Bye-bye.